Hello, everybody. Hi, hope you're all right. So yeah, I'm going to tell you a little bit about SwapBots, but I'm also going to talk to you about why toys are actually on the cutting edge and the vanguard of the adoption of new technology right now. So what is this? I've definitely seen one before, and I'm kind of racking my brain. I can't quite place what it is. I don't know if you've seen one before. That's right. It's a controller. So we're approaching a time where augmented reality will enable anything to become interactive. Anything can become animated. So we're talking about a world where just about anything you want can be whatever you want it to be in a virtual world. And that's just around the corner with the likes of Tango and HoloLens and other fantastic AR and MR products that are coming. So what's this? It's a good haircut and a famous actress, but it's neither of those things really. It's your personal profile. So again, we're talking about objects, or in this case, a person in the real world is having a function in the digital world. And that's a really incredible thing. And it's something that I actually believe that toys and games, of course, are actually leading the way with. So yeah, we've got a few examples here of augmented reality, some alternative control methods, and AI being featured in toys. And it's particularly interesting, we've got over here, we've got Cognitoy's Dino down the bottom right there. And that is actually the first use of Watson in the home in a hardware product. So the first time IBM Watson, you know, the kind of vanguard, the standard of AI and of cognitive learning, it's found its way into the home first via a toy, which is quite an incredible thing. And that's actually not the only thing like that, of course, because, of course, before Alexa started to kind of creep into our homes, particularly at Christmas this year, I know quite a few people who are getting Amazon products and starting to talk to their computer in a very Star Trek-like way. Now, of course, Barbie's been doing that for a couple of years. And there are quite a few other toys like that. So there's been those connected toys that will answer questions and have a back and forth conversation with you. They've existed for some time. And it's the same for me right now with some incredible kind of alternative control methods for video games. I do believe that as our expectations change, as the banana becomes the controller or our face becomes our password, you know, we're going to expect to find kind of a more streamlined, a more interesting control method. And it's something that this game, Lightseekers, I don't know if any of you have come across it, it's actually, their beta program has just launched. I was told by somebody they're still painting the toys, so it's good to know that they've had big investment, but they still have to get their hands dirty with the toys. And yeah, they have a main game that's very like Skylanders, which isn't a bad thing. But the kind of real kind of, I think their USP, but I don't think they're quite feeling that's their USP. It's a relatively small part of the game, is that you can pick the toys up and start to move them around and it will move the characters in the game. So there's a lovely little video of somebody picking up a toy that is intended to fly, basically. This character's meant to fly, and so you pick it up and start doing what you do as a kid. You pick the toy up, start going and whizzing around. And I still do that with my little lad today, and he finds it most amusing. And when you do that, the character will start flying on the screen. So it's really fantastic to see these alternative control methods. Obviously, similar story of Beasts of Balance. I don't know if any of you have got that, or certainly quite a few of you have seen that. Absolutely incredible product. Again, another one that's been born out of crowdfunding, and we have Skylanders on the end. I'm sure you're all familiar with that, and the kind of other products that use its platform. And Onky Overdrive. Onky Overdrive, yeah, that's another great product. So that's the mobile phone controlled scale-electric alternative. I don't think that's really doing it justice. I think it's a video game alternative. And the way it works, it's more like playing Mario Kart than playing scale-electric. You can shoot your opponents, collect power-ups. Fantastic thing. Really kind of versatile tracks as well. Really, really fantastic. That's something that, again, started as a relatively small enterprise and kind of more techie people than toy people. And obviously we know Sphero was certainly a technology product. It wasn't really marketed as a toy at all. It was marketed as a gadget for grown-ups. It really was. And we were big fans of Sphero. We bought one in the office and started to play around with it. Obviously, it was open for developers to use. But the big thing is, obviously, they attached a license of a certain space film to it, and it became the best-selling toy previous Christmas, 2015. I think Unky Overdrive was the second best-selling toy last year at Christmas as well. So we're talking about some really high-tech toys. I mean, this is serious technology in these toys. You know, I picture back to when I was younger, towards the kind of end of my childhood. There was starting to be Lego with light and sound. And I just thought going on a button, going and making a noise like that was incredible. And look at this. You know, that's quite some array of technology. We've got NFC, we've got AR, we've got these crazy alternative control methods and whatever wizardry they're using. We've got the kind of mobile phone controlled Bluetooth cars. We've, again, you know, Sphero just baffles me. Incredible magnets, magic, whatever's inside it. And we've got Watson there. And I say that's not the first example of an interactive talking toy at all. So yeah, what we're all about, we are SwapBots. So we produce an augmented reality toy. So it's brought to life using augmented reality. You can try it, you can go upstairs and come and try it on the stand with us. Here's a lovely mocked up photo that amazingly we went to get a stock photograph and found a friend of ours was actually in it, which is quite bizarre, as I thought people in stock photographs were like CGI images and weren't real, but no, they are. So yeah, so we had to choose that photo, whether it suited it or not. But anyway, yeah, so basically we have toys and they split into 3 different pieces, and they're 5-sided 3D augmented reality markers. That's not what we'll tell the 6-year-olds who we intend to buy it. We'll say they're fun little robots. But that's kind of, from a technical point of view, what is really clever about it. So yeah, basically we're using Unity, we're using Vuforia. Obviously you'll all be familiar with them, and it's quite amusing because we went to Vuforia and said, we're going to be making all these toys. Our first run of toys, which is due to be in the shops in the US in September next year, they basically split into 3 parts. And so when you assemble them, there's 729 combinations from the 9 toys. So they said you can't have that many markers, you know, because it has to build one composite marker from the 3 pieces that you present to the camera. We said, yeah, they said, you can't do that. You can't have that many markers. You've got to manually enter all those markers. And the size of the app will get bigger and bigger as you put more markers in. And we said, we've already done it. It already works. So we've got this incredible platform behind it that basically, it's really, really sophisticated and really interesting use of AR. In fact, here we are. Yeah, so we've got the 3 swappable pieces, and the gameplay, we're talking about a relatively simple gameplay. So it's aimed at 6 to 11-year-olds. And yeah, it's a parent-friendly app model. So we're not monetizing the app, we're monetizing the toy. We want the value to be in the toy, both in terms of when you purchase the toy, we want the value to be there, but also we want the play value. So unlike other scan-to-play toys, as we'll call them, say like Skylanders or Lego's Nexo Knights, where you just present the toy to the device and it unlocks content, and then the toy, you don't have to use it again. Yeah, one of our kind of co-founders, one of the guys I work with and came up with SwapBots, John, he's got 3 kids who are all of Skylanders age, shall we call them, and he spends a lot. I don't want to know how much it is. I think he spends more on that than he does on this, to be honest. It's crazy the amount. I think he's got just about every Skylander's ever been, and they all end up in a box. He now has a dedicated, I think it's about 3 boxes. They just get dumped in once they've unlocked the content. So you're talking about paying around £10 to unlock a character, and we wouldn't accept that on mobile, and you wouldn't accept that from other kind of things. And yes, you've got the toys, but if you're not going to play with them, there isn't the value. So basically, we are playing, as you will see now with this fantastic video, you will see that the toys are actually constantly in play. They're constantly in front of the screen, constantly being used. And the different combination of pieces from the toy, it means that you can basically have different gameplay variations. You can, say, attach the, say this octopus there. If you need to kind of clear a body of water in the game, you go and put a piece of a fish on, and it will go and swim around. So yeah, it's really simple battle-based gameplay. It's improved since this video. We've got environmental elements that arrive on the table. So it's a really simple thing to do that, because we know the 2 planes at the bottom of the toy, so we can guess where the surface is, how large the surface is, if it's flat or not. So yeah, we've got kind of all sorts of environmental elements, power-ups that land on the table. So it's really, really nice kind of thing. Everything's improved about the game, actually. I'm kind of looking at this, and it's a moving target, this game. So yeah, it's something that looks very, very different. We're also part of SOSV's Hacks Boost Accelerator program in the States. That's been really, really important to us. We've also won UK Games Fund support, and we're one of Tech North's Northern Stars. We won a competition for startups based in the north of England. So yeah, so where we started, we kind of started our journey here. And I think a lot of people won't admit it, but a lot of people who are at this event working in mobile will have started their journey here as well. basically something that was a bit of a gimmick, but I think there is absolutely nothing wrong with gimmicks in technology. I think the best moments in technology can be classified as a gimmick. They can be classified as something really small. And for me, it was this Carling iPint app. I think it was either number 1 or number 2 the first week of the App Store. So that was 2008, I think it was. It was some months, wasn't it, after the iPhone was released. I can't remember the kind of gap between the release of the phone and the beginning of the App Store. But straight away, iPint, later rebranded as the Carling app, I think Carling iPint. That was a big hit. And I remember the first person in our office came around and started passing a phone around, the iPhone, and what did they show me? It was this. And they showed the whole office, and people weren't interested in the other things it did. They just sat there pretending to drink beer, something that you could just go and do. Our office was opposite a pub. We could have quite easily gone and drunk an actual pint of beer, no problem at all. And instead, we found ourselves passing around the phone and having an awful lot of fun with that. You know, silly lightsaber apps were to follow and all the rest of it. And I think there's nothing wrong with that, because it was at that moment we sat down and started saying, what can we do with this phone? Because this illustrated the phone could sense movement. You know, there's gyroscopes. It knew which way it's orientated. It's got a touch screen. It's got a processor. What can we do with this smartphone and the smartphones that are sure to follow? And I think a nice little gimmick like that opens your mind. So that's, when I'm talking about toys leading technology, I think there'd be a certain resistance from people, and they'll see something like a dinosaur that talks to you as a bit of a gimmick. But quite frankly, if it's using IBM Watson to do so, it's not. And you know, you show me any other object in your home that uses that, you'd certainly struggle to find anything. You might find a kind of application or something like that on an existing device, but in terms of hardware that shows that, I think it's really, really important that we just have fun. And VR's in that stage at the moment. VR is in that stage big time. AR is as well, where there's some really gimmicky things out there. And I think that's great. I really do. I want to pick something up, and within 30 seconds, I want to have wowed somebody and convinced them this is the future, because that's all you've got at this point. You can't go, oh, we need a AAA game in VR, AR, and it has to completely blow people's minds, and you go on playing it for days and months and years. We're not at that stage. We now are with mobile gaming. We're now starting to get people use games for many months, and you know, they kind of, and that's really helped the monetization, obviously, of these games. You know, it just keeps on, people keep buying into the game or keep watching ads within the game. Right now in VR and AR, you just have to win them over the way you did with the Carling iPint app. You have to have their attention in a second, otherwise you're not going to get it, because they've got to make a big step to embrace this new technology. And I think it's something toys do brilliantly well. And of course, AR, that's what we're kind of, you know, that's what we're focused on with SwapBots, and we've been focused on that for some time as a development company. As our kind of client-serving company is Draw and Code. We've been working with VR, and we've been working with AR for about 7 or 8 years now, I think, in one form or another. And really, 2016, obviously the year of VR, but it was AR that posted the really mind-bogglingly big numbers. You know, there's so many numbers surrounding Pokemon Go, 500 million users, 65 million within a week. There's starting to be some really negative articles saying, oh, the user base, it's shrunk a little, there's not as many regular users of Pokemon Go. People are forgetting it's not a platform, it's a game. It's a game, and of course we've lost users in Pokemon Go, but it will still have more users than 99% of games that are out there. It's not a problem. There is the odd game these days that you know, your Candy Crush and things like that, where people carry on using it for years rather than for days, weeks, months. But yeah, Pokemon Go, it is one of those games, but you can't expect it to be top of the charts and you know, forever. So I think it's quite silly when people are picking holes in it and starting to say, no, it's not continuing its success. Of course it's not, but it's paving the way for the next thing. Now, something that is continuing its success is Snapchat. And I've put this photo up here. It's quite a puzzling photo, isn't it, if you don't know what it is. But I think this was a really significant moment in AR. Probably, I think, a more significant moment in Pokemon Go, really. In terms of the adoption of AR, okay, you know, Snap have made incredible investments in AR. I've got their glasses, a bit of a disappointment. They kind of market that as being an AR, you know, thing. It's not. It's a glass, you know, a camera on your face, really. But in terms of the way they'll use the lenses and the way they'll use AR within the actual Snapchat app, I think is stunning. And this example here was the Gatorade-sponsored Super Bowl promotion. Obviously, like all content, ran for 24 hours, the day of the Super Bowl. More people engaged with this, where you get Gatorade thrown at your face, than actually watch the Super Bowl live in the US. And think about that. That's the US's biggest TV program of the year. And this on Snapchat had more people using it than watched the TV, than watched the actual game. That is just, and only in 24 hours. So we're not talking about, so it is comparable with the live event. We're not talking about this is sat online for the following year, and so it's amassed the kind of engagement afterwards. We're talking about that level in such a short period of time. It was, it's in the hundreds of millions. I can't remember what the figure is, but it's a lot of people. And for me, that was a really, really significant moment. And Snap have done an awful lot for AR. I really do believe that. And what they've done, probably the best thing they've done for AR is not calling it AR, by just getting on with what they do and just putting it in your hands and making it fun. And now in the UK, when we watch X Factor, we will see Snapchat imitating kind of, facial recognition type of thing, whatever it's called, between every ad break. It's now something that everybody understands. I used to have to explain to my parents what the hell I did all day, and I'd say augmented reality, virtual reality, and they wouldn't get it. After 2016, they get it, they understand, and they are not the only ones. We're talking about really young people right through to my parents who are knocking on the door of 80, and they all understand and get what augmented reality is thanks to these two moments in AR last year. So that's made our job easier when we're going out trying to sell SwapBots, trying to explain SwapBots. At first, we were almost not saying augmented reality toy. We were saying they are toys that are brought to life and playing into the toys to life genre like that, thinking that was more understood. Now we can just say augmented reality toys and people already have a picture of what it's going to be like, how it's going to work. So yeah, I do believe that toys, I say, are leading AR. This is a really cool thing called Koski, being developed, there's an accelerator in London, I can't think what it's called, but they're developing that right here in London. Fantastic, wooden toy. Isn't that great? Again, we're talking about any object, any surface can become interactive and animated in AR. It's a really lovely project, that. And here we've got Osmo. You might have come across that. If ever you Google it, believe me, you will be getting AdWords and you'll be getting Facebook ads forever about it. I never see the back of it now. And yeah, it's a lovely product. It's a bit too expensive, but it's a lovely product where you've got the camera on the top of the iPad. That little red thing at the top is a mirror, so it just faces downwards, and you push stuff underneath it, it will appear. And that's really simple kind of shapes. I think you push the shapes together and they'll animate then on the screen. But there's really cool stuff around education, around coding, where you get, say if you get those three pieces and you do 1 + 1, put them in front of the camera, it will tell you what the sum equals. It's really, really lovely technology, just about $150 for the starter kit, so quite expensive, but it's a fantastic piece of kit. It really, really is. And if you look at these use of AR, in terms of, I'm sure we could all go to a lab, we could go to a studio, we could go to a university and find some incredible use of AR, don't get me wrong, but in terms of going out into the wild, going into somebody's home and actually finding them using this technology, I think with the exception of Pokemon Go and Snap, you'll pretty much only find toys. There won't be much else. Yeah, there'll be some adverts on the back of a magazine where you'll, use a blipper or one of them. I don't think they're great, and I don't think many people use them. I don't know the stats on that, but just my instinct is I kind of look at it and go, okay, we've had enough of advertising. You can't kind of lead with that. For me, it's toys is leading the adoption of this incredible world-changing technology, and that is an amazing thing, something we hope to be part of. So yeah, that's basically the kind of shout out to the kind of rest of the development world. If kids apps are doing this with technology, if we're getting Watson into a little dinosaur that costs less than £100, if we're getting incredible examples of contextual AR, if we're getting really, really ambitious, big games aimed at children, such as Pokemon Go. I know it's an older platform now, getting up to 5 years old, but its use of it and attached to license is incredible. So why on earth are other people not embracing it? I do think it's kind of the time to do that. I think now is the time to go in pretty much any sector that you're kind of making software for, to explore these avenues. I say if a banana can become a controller, if your face can become your password, then you can find something to work in your sector. We had contact from somebody who works for a vet who use HoloLens, so that's a good example, isn't it? So quite an incredible project that they're doing there. And for me, AR, I'd say it's just the tip of the iceberg, and it's something we're really interested in. Our kind of background, well, our background is we were children, and we like playing with toys. That's our big picture background, but video games, that's how we came into this. So play is what excites us, but I just I'm looking at this technology, I'm getting really impatient now. The world is now ready, particularly for AR, and they're certainly getting there with VR, that's for sure. So yeah, well, thank you for listening anyway, and you can become a part of our beta test program. We will be, basically the kind of quick schedule for SwapBots is, beta will be shipping toys to people. That's the tough thing, I say beta, and most people that's just pressing a button to kind of release some software into the wild. With us, we have to go and get toys manufactured, packaged, sent to people. Not so easy. The toys you see here, 3D printed toys, and the toys you'll play with downstairs, they are 3D printed toys, finished by, we kind of print them in-house, but then they're finished by a handbag manufacturer, who everybody else said, we can't print on that type of 3D print, and then we approached handbag manufacturer, and they said, we can print on leather, so don't worry, we can print on anything. So we got, because we need really good quality printing, you know, for it to kind of work well with the cameras. It's one of the big challenges, of course. Kids have tablets. Tablets don't have the best cameras in them, and especially not the older hand-me-down tablets. Oh, here, have my first iPad. I'll keep the iPad Pro for myself. You know, that's basically what's happening with kids, so we've got to make sure the printing is tip-top. But anyway, you can be part of our beta test program. You head to swapbots.co or come downstairs and we'll sign you up. Even if you're not interested, there's probably a kid in your family that you know. We're kind of aiming the product 6 to 11-year-olds, but I think it's good for anybody to play with, and people in the industry to kind of see what we're up to and to experiment with it a little bit. Anyway, right, thank you for listening. Anyway, cheers for that.